EA Sports has long produced the best and most revered video game hockey simulation around. As a matter of fact, the NHL series is the only one still available on consoles. Its primary competition, NHL 2K, hung up its skates in 2009 on most consoles after NHL 2K10 was released. NHL 2K11 released exclusively on the Nintendo Wii and iPhone, but the series was cancelled altogether in 2010. As the only game in town for console gamers, the EA Sports NHL series hasn't slacked off in recent years. It's been consistent in regards to gameplay and innovative in the way of features such as GM Connected. The series makes its next generation debut just 3 weeks ago on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Let's talk about it. Based purely on visual appeal, it's hard to find flaws with NHL 15. The players, their equipment, and their surroundings look fantastic. If you zoom in on a player at any given moment in the action, the look is so real that it's like you're looking at a photograph. Most of the players are accurately rendered, but there are a few generic faces given to multiple guys. That type of thing really stands out when the rest of the game looks so great, but it's hardly enough to take away from the overall visual quality. If you pan around any arena, you're able to see the nuances of each building as well as authentic staples of an NHL arena. Take a look at the benches. You can even see the trainers with rubber gloves, coaches, though they aren't the real life guys, and other subtle awesomeness. To point out one of the few missteps in the visual package, the look of the player's hair is not on par with the facial renders. Other sports games like EA Sports UFC, MLB The Show, and others have lifelike hair, but NHL 15 still has this matted down look for every player. Like in football games, this isn't as big of a deal in hockey as it would be in, say, basketball, but when players lose their helmets, it is noticeable. Lastly, on the negative side, there are times when the collision that takes place should seemingly produce a different type of fall for the player on the business end of the hit. Now, this happens most with big checks, but it's certainly not such a big deal that it overshadows the overall quality of animations in the game. Gameplay and realism obviously is a big deal. The skating has been great in the series for the last 3 versions, but this year's game takes the most important aspect of the sport to another level. You feel the weight and momentum of the player you're controlling as much as ever in NHL 15. It's the basis for what is a really solid and realistic hockey simulation. The Superstar skill stick really helps to differentiate the most skilled players with the puck from the normal guys. If you can master the dekes and skating engine in the game, you'll be a terror with the top players under your control. On the other side of things, defensemen who are speedy and great at poke checking the puck away from opponents seem to stand out more this year. Perhaps it all simply ties in together. In any case, it feels and plays well. The puck physics are also at an all-time best for the franchise. You can see the authentic caroms the puck takes from any normal playable gameplay camera. But if you really want to be wowed by how realistic it reacts, zoom in on it during an instant replay. It really is pretty amazing to see. You can literally follow the puck into the goalie's mitt or see exactly how it hit the edge of the post. Another positive in the way of physics accuracy is the collision detection between players. For the first time, collision physics have been applied to all 12 players on the ice. What does this mean? It means that multiplayer collisions and pileups are possible, and when they occur, you will be wowed. They look cool and can be created from just about any on-ice occurrence that causes a player to stumble or fall. One thing that could stand to be adjusted is the frequency in which you can drop the gloves for a fight. At almost every stoppage of play, there's some possibility to scrap with someone on the opposing team. After a while, it gets annoying and you want the guys to simply just play the game. The fight engine hasn't changed and doesn't seem to be a significant part of the package. But aside from that, NHL 15 plays like a dream. The sound and presentation. Now, going with the NBC branded TV style presentation was a smart move for the franchise. In NHL 15, the beginnings of games are almost dead ringers for real broadcasts. Live action versions of the new commentary of Mike Emmerich and Eddie Olczyk appear in the game. They aren't rendered characters like Phil Simms and Jim Nantz in Madden. The animated versions of Simms and Nantz aren't a negative for Madden, but seeing the real Emmerich and Olczyk adds a level of gloss and authenticity to the NHL 15 presentation. Ray Ferraro is the ice level analyst, and if you go into an instant replay, you can actually see him on the ice. The crowds look and sound great. There are over 9,000 variations of fans in the stands, and they react appropriately to the action. If the road team is doing well, you can hear more of the on-ice action until the home team gives the fans a reason to raise the noise level in the arena. Now score a goal with a home team and you'll hear them explode. Signature arena sounds, intros, and player signs in the stands only add to the presentation value. While it was nice to see the series get a fresh commentary team, not all that much has changed with the approach to the concept besides the voices. There's still far too many repeated lines and not enough conversation between Emmerich and Olczyk. The best sports games blend in storytelling with the action while punching in to interrupt secondary discussions with important events happening on the ice. Even with Emmerich and Olczyk in place, the NHL series still hasn't resolved or mastered that whole in-game audio side. As good as the visual presentation is, and as much of the NBC brand the game uses, you would think there would be more hoopla during intermissions, but there is none. Emmerich recites the shots on goal, and that's about it. This is a missed opportunity to really drive home the enhanced presentation. Game modes and options. Now here's where the game hits a major snag. The rumors you've heard and probably had confirmed at this point are true. NHL 15 doesn't have GM connected, EASHL, fantasy drafts and be a GM, the Live the Life concept and be a pro, or the Winter Classic. In this year's game, these are your options. Play Now, Ultimate Team. There's going to be tournaments added via downloadable content or via a patch. There's Be a GM, and then there's also the ability to play Be a Pro, NHL Moments Live, and then there's the practice mode. The menu for the game looks so empty it almost feels as if it's not a full version. It seems this year EA Sports decided to focus on core gameplay components and it sacrificed the inclusion of other modes that made NHL 14 such a treasure chest of options. Now for gamers who primarily play offline, the omissions in Be a GM will be missed, but they won't have as much of a problem with the diminished feature set as fans who spend most of their time online. GM Connected and EASHL had become popular aspects of the franchise. To have them completely left out is hard to look past. At least the list of achievements and awards remain the same from NHL 14. Early this week, EA Sports responded to the outcries of fans looking for more depth in the game, and they added in playoff mode, which allows you to create a custom offline tournament. You get coach feedback and be a pro, even though you still aren't able to fast forward through the time periods when you're not on the ice. There will be 3 stars given out at the end of the game. There's some changes being made and added to Hockey Ultimate Team, and there's going to be online team play, and you'll be able to actually control the draft in October via the second patch. Now, will this be enough to satisfy fans who weren't going to buy the game before the updates were announced? It's hard to say, but it doesn't change what the game is at the time of release. And even in the best case scenario, it still leaves NHL 15 with a very empty set of features and options. Now overall, NHL 15 looks great, plays sweet, and has some promising presentation elements. But the lack of depth in the modes, options, and customization makes the game feel incomplete. If 3/4 of the features that were removed were included, we'd be calling NHL 15 one of the best sports games ever created. The game obviously has some value because of its undeniable qualities, but those looking for the total package can look ahead to NHL 16. Hopefully the internal depth catches up to the exterior beauty. Here are the numbers.